Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of NEWS2. I'm Sandra Singh. Topping our newscast, last week the government's Employees Retirement Board voted to take action against Juan Luis Hospital for outstanding monies due to the agency. Now, over the weekend, Luis Hospital officials responded with a statement of their own. NEWS2's Erica Parsons has a story.
The Government Employees Retirement Systems Board is fed up with Juan Luis Hospital's growing balance of outstanding employer contributions. During a meeting Thursday, the board authorized the agency's administrator to take all the steps necessary to collect all deducted contributions and loan payments from the hospital. GERS officials have said repeatedly that the hospital owes roughly $5 million in contributions that were deducted from hospital employee paychecks but never sent to the retirement system. In a statement released over the weekend, hospital CEO Dr. Kendall Griffith said the issues with GRS started before he took the helm 2 years ago. He said since that time, his leadership team has been working to get things back on track. The hospital's leadership said several factors contributed to the delinquent contributions. They cited a $6 million garnishment by the government in 2013 for outstanding health insurance premiums, the overall reduction of the government's annual allotment, and the former CEO's decision to have the hospital process its own payroll as the reasons for further financial strain. Officials say they've had to balance paying vendor accounts and maintaining operations. GRS officials said they met with Luis officials late last year. They offered to help calculate the missing contributions owed and even bought software to help do the conversion.
The problem is, including in those check stubs or whatever they have, they're showing us in text format. Is overtime. I don't calculate contribution on overtime.
JFL officials in the statement said they submitted payments to GRS in fiscal year 14 for employee benefits and loans, and they plan to work to fulfill all their obligations. Erica Parsons, NEWS2.
Juan Luis Hospital Board's next regular meeting is scheduled for Wednesday at 5:15 p.m. at the hospital. All board meetings are open to the public. Last week, the spotlight was on tourism, at least for local government officials and tourism operators. The 2015 Sea Trade Conference was held in Miami, and on Friday, the VI Hotel and Tourism Association also held its annual meeting. Both events discussed challenges in the tourism industry and what the future looks like for the region. NEWS2's April Knight has details.
Last week, Miami hosted one of the biggest cruise ship conferences in the nation, and VI government leaders were there to represent. The tourism department led a showcase of what the VI has to offer. Some senators and even Governor Kenneth Mapp were also on the scene, networking and learning about trends in the cruise shipping industry.
There remains tremendous amount of work for us to do on St. Croix and St. Thomas in terms of the movement of passengers, the improvement of the quality of their visits, the continued expansion of the infrastructure.
Meanwhile, on the home front, key tourism operators were tackling pretty much the same issues. Frank Comito, new CEO of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, said the past couple of years have been good for VI tourism, but challenges remain. In 2014, arrivals went up by 3.9%. Hotel occupancy went up by 5.1%. That's way ahead of the entire region, which went up by only 1.5%. But Comito said the industry still needs to drive down prices, which is hard to do if utility costs are soaring and taxes are rising. He also said Cuba will become a competitor whether we like it or not, but it doesn't mean the death of tourism for the rest of the Caribbean.
I don't view it as a threat. I view it as an opportunity to get better. You had greater marketing power. The competition, the existing stakeholders said, wait a second. We got to get better at what we do. We got competition coming on board.
For NEWS2, I'm April Knight.
The VI Hotel and Tourism Association meeting was also tackled the pending Barker bill. Officials also announced the forthcoming VI Coupons app that would digitally issue discounts to users. Well, it's National Tsunami Preparedness Week, and VITEMA will be activating the tsunami sirens territory-wide at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. The exercise, titled Carib Wave Lantex 15, simulates an 8.0 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Panama that generates a tsunami and consequently a widespread tsunami warning. Now, siren locations are on St. Thomas at the Cyril Lee King Airport, Crown Bay, Griffith Park, Enid Ball Library, Long Bay, Mandela Circle, Megan's Bay Beach, Coquille Point Beach, Friedenhoy, and Red Hook. On St. John, it's at Cruz Bay and Coral Bay. On St. Croix, Kramer's Park, DV Carina Bay, Canagata Ballpark, Christiansted, Government Parking Lot, Scion Farm, Williams Delight, Fisher Street, Frederickstead, Government Parking Lot, Spratt Hall. Now, many other participants, including the VI Department of Education, will be conducting evacuation drills as well. Fatima will also host town hall meetings in each school district to explain the overall project and educate the community on the tsunami risk. The first town hall meeting began this evening at 6 p.m. at Adelita Cancroin Junior High School. Tsunami preparedness public meetings are scheduled on St. Croix. That will take place at the Arthur A. Richards Junior High Auditorium at 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, March 25th, and the Pearl B. Larson School Auditorium at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, March 26th. In other news, uninspected marine vessels operating in the territory can now carry up to 12 passengers legally. This after the U.S. Coast Guard decided to amend its regulations on the number of passengers that can safely go aboard uninspected vessels. The new rules apply to vessels that are less than 79 feet in length and that are in compliance with the Yellow Code for motor vessels or the Blue Code for sailing vessels. The new 12-passenger limit only applies to Virgin Islands voyages, not to international voyages. Former Elections Supervisor John Abramson Jr. is suing former Senator and Elections Board member Adelbert Bryan for defamation. Court documents allege that Bryan repeatedly maligned Abramson's character since early 2013 and even continues to do so now on talk radio. In the complaint, Bryan is accused of calling the former supervisor a drunk, a drug addict, and a thief, among other things. It also alleges that Bryan accused Abramson of feigning illness and having Dr. Akir Prasad sign off on the medical leave. Abramson had submitted his resignation in early 2013, but had been on medical leave prior to that. Abramson is joined on the lawsuit by Dr. Prasad, who is also suing Bryan for defamation. Michael Boyce, 28 years of age, pleaded guilty on March 20, 2015, in district court on St. Croix to one count of possession of prison contraband. As part of his plea, Boyce admitted that on April 4, 2013, while he was an inmate at the Golden Grove Adult Correctional Facility on St. Croix, he possessed a shank and a cellular telephone that were hidden in his mattress. Boyce of St. Croix is facing the maximum sentence of 5 years in prison and $250,000 fine. No sentencing date has been set. VI police spokesperson Kevin Jackson said around 9 a.m. this morning, officers responded to a call of an assault in the Christiansted Public Cemetery. Police discovered the body of an unresponsive male lying on the ground, later identified as Egbert Thomas Sr. Following information provided by concerned citizens, officers located the suspect in the assault, described as a homeless and mentally ill man. As the officers approached the subject, he began to hurl rocks and other items at the officers, who were eventually able to subdue, restrain, and arrest the suspect, identified as the individual who had attacked Mr. Thomas. He was taken into custody for further questioning. The incident is still under investigation. Turn our attention overseas. Tea Party favorite Ted Cruz announced his bid for the White House, becoming the first major candidate in the 2016 presidential race. The senator from Texas kicked off his campaign at a Christian university in Virginia. Cruz says conservative Christians should rise up and restore the promise of America. The 44-year-old Republican laid out his vision for the next administration, calling for a flat tax, securing the borders, and ending President Obama's health care law. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy says the prison system in America is broken and needs to be reevaluated. Meanwhile, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy testified Monday before the House Budget Committee and said total incarceration isn't working and it's not humane, and that corrections facilities put too many inmates into solitary confinement. And keeping our eye on the economy, the best state for retirees is Wyoming, and that's according to new research from Bankrate.com, which looked at factors including weather, cost of living, healthcare facilities, taxes, crime, and a measure of satisfaction called senior well-being. Other top states include Colorado, Utah, Idaho, and Virginia. Here's the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all down. The Dow 11, Nasdaq 15, S&P 3. Coming up on News 2, the coal workers of the former Danish West Indies represented resilience. They fueled a successful strike on September 12, 1892, and ultimately won them better pay. Who was the strike leader, and what was that event called? That's coming up next. In tonight's VI History Moment, we pay tribute to VI Bambula icon Mary Ann Christopher. Christopher was known for her tireless work in keeping the African dance alive. She trained with Gina Sanderson and founded the Joseph Gomez Bambula Group on St. Thomas, where she taught generations of women the Bambula. She was known for her participation and her role in playing the part of 19th century coal strike leader Queen Keziah for the Dollar for Dollar Culture and History Tour. Christopher sadly died in 2013 after a car accident in Maryland. She was 68. The coal workers of the former Danish West Indies represented resilience. They balanced hundreds of baskets weighing close to 100 pounds of coal on their heads from the 1850s to the 1920s to fuel the steamships that came into the St. Thomas Harbor, transporting goods, mail, and passengers between the Caribbean, South America, North America, and Europe. It was backbreaking work for which they made $1 a day for carrying 200 baskets of coal onto the vessels that docked along the water's edge. They got through this work with their fighting songs, dance, and drums, which fueled the successful strike on September 12, 1892, and ultimately won them better pay. Hovensa's rack rates continue to plummet as the company tries to empty out the last remaining fuel in its storage tanks. Local gas station owners who buy directly from Hovensa will pay the following prices. For regular fuel, it's $2.38 per gallon. For premium, it's $2.59 per gallon. And for diesel, it's $3.31 per gallon. Now, these prices include the 14-cent tax per gallon tax that Hovensa collects for the government. The territory senator at large, Armando Rocky Liebert, has scheduled a series of town hall meetings, and the first, he says, will be held at 6 p.m. on Thursday, April 9th at the Legislative Annex in Cruz Bay on St. John. The senator at large said that he expects to discuss a lot of things: property taxes, Cruz Bay traffic, St. John rescue, VI National Park issues, and other matters. Senator Liebert said he will continue to meet with homeowners, associations, clubs, church groups, and other organizations. Well, UVI is celebrating Pride Week, March 23rd to March 27, 2015. It features pep rallies and speeches on UVI's St. Thomas and St. Croix campuses, as well as area high schools. Now, the week also includes the UVI Charter Day. That's on Tuesday, which commemorates the 53rd anniversary. Governor Kenneth Mapp will be the keynote speaker. The inaugural VI Literary Festival and Book Fair, that's also being held, featuring prominent Caribbean authors, including Jamaica Kincaid and Tiffany Yannick. That's all planned. A rally took place earlier today at the St. Croix Central High School. Another one is scheduled for Tuesday, March 24th at Educational Complex. Well, on Saturday night, students demonstrated just how science influences everything we do. The St. Croix Educational Complex High School hosted Science Meets Music and Culture. There were almost 24 performances from students and the school's departments explaining how the brain and body work together to make certain actions happen, whether it's karate, baton twirling, dancing, or even breaking down the lyrics of songs. There were also performances from local culture bearers, live like King Derby, the 10 Sleepless Nights, and the II Cultural Dancers, just to name a few. The U.S. Virgin Islands Hotel and Tourism Association presented Lisa Hamilton, receiving the prestigious Champion of Youth Award from the Boys and Girls Club for her diligent work with the organization. Now, that award is presented to an individual who has gone above and beyond in service and commitment to the youth at the clubs. Lisa is known for assisting from everything providing snacks to ensuring that every member has a meaningful Christmas through the gift drive and Christmas party. O'Neill Canton, who's the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club of the Virgin Islands, shared that. Hamilton and the association host the annual Thanksgiving lunch and annual Boys and Girls Club holiday party. Well, be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.